Hey guys, this is Michelle Palmer and I'm from Bartow Middle School. And today I would like to talk to you about the AEST Ag Certification Test, specifically the Ag Systems, and what it can do for you, your program, as well as your students and your school. So not to mention our workforce tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share some things with you as we walk around and pull up information about AEST. So when I do this, and I'm going to back out of this real quick, and I'm going to go to aest.ag certify, or I just usually put certify.ag. That's the website. I go to certifications, associated certifications, and Ag Systems. All right, a little background about this specific certification. When it was created to help put money in middle school programs initially. There was all these other certification tests that were giving funding to high school programs, and Keitha Bennett, that is a former middle school ag teacher and high school ag teacher, realized the need for middle school programs to get funding. And so she looked at some different courses and found that the fundamentals of ag systems had a really good basis, and that's where she started to build this exam and where the frameworks came from. As we look at this, as it got expanded, this test, depending on your school, your district, has the opportunity to test other courses, kids that have taken other courses, as long as you've designated that at the beginning of the year. So as it grew, there are even high school students all the way through their senior year that the ag teachers are going, wait, you haven't taken systems? Oh, this is going to be a breeze for you. So they are even testing as far up into the high school level. All right, so as we go into this and we scroll down, you will see exam overview, industry support letters, passing scores of 66%. It is a 50-question test, multiple choice. The initial cost is going to be $50 per student that takes that exam. And if they have to retake it, they can take the test up to 3 times, and it is a $50 retake exam fee on this test specific. Depending on your school district, the program could receive upwards to $300, $350 per passing student. So there is some definitely a way to increase financial support and funding for your program by just basically doing your job. So we look at this down here, the exam guide right here. Let me see if it'll come up. Earlier it was giving me a spinning time. Nope, today, right now, it's going to do it. All right, great. We're going to scroll down in this, and this is one of the exams that they really put a lot of effort into spelling it out and saying these are the exam specifics. There's 2 primary recommended resources. The one of them is the top is a Exploring Agri-Science by Cengage, 5th edition, and a PDF, USDA Farm Resource Regions. If you had a chance to see my how ag teachers can use laminators, video, then you've seen me talk about this USDA Farm Resource Region. If you were planning on giving this test, I suggest you get a copy of this and make sure you have plenty of it, and really go over these farm resource regions. Even though there may only be one test question on it, most of the kids in your class are going to have, that you test, are going to have a question about a farm resource region, I promise. So as we go through, she has these things called secondary resource references, and we'll go back and talk about those, because I will honestly tell you, these will make a beginning ag teacher as well as a very seasoned ag teacher's job way easier when you look at those secondary references, and they can be used as an integral part of your lesson plans and curriculum. So we go down here, we look, and she has things weighted out, and I always refer to she as Keitha. Your evolution of agriculture, this is going to be 4%. So there's going to be 2 questions here. Animal welfare and rights, that is 2 questions. Dairy industry are going to be 7. Beef, 7. Swine industry, 7. Poultry industry, 7. Vegetable industry, 7. Nursery industry, 7. 2 in food science, and 2 in leadership and communication for the workplace. So, and it spells it out right here. Now we have some detailed information about each part here, where it gives you a really good grip of those 2 questions are going to be anywhere from how agriculture benefits humans, how it benefits us on the global, national, and state scale. Of course, here's our farm resource regions, the Florida commodities and production regions, major agriculture inventions, as well as biotechnology. And she will put a sample question in there as well. As we go down with all of these, you're going to see things get very specific. She will tell you, they're going to tell you, these are the breeds that you're going to see, that those students are going to need. They're going to need to be able to identify them by picture, and they're going to have to be able to identify them by description, depending on how that is used. They may also have to identify them whether it is a dairy breed or a beef breed. Anatomy, that's pretty much, that's your external, that's very specific. Milking parlors, here's 4 parlors. Again, pictures or descriptions, either one can be used. Dairy processing and products, there you go. These, you're going to see a lot of this information right here about processing and some of the products in your primary resource, but we're going to show you where you're going to find it also in your secondary. Now, I will tell you here, these dairy breeds are going to show up on your secondary resources. That is why they are extremely important. Beef industry, we're pushing in here with breeds as well as terminology. Ruminant digestion comes up here, kind of exploring that part. Management practices as well. Beef cattle operations, as well as wholesale cuts and byproducts. You're going to see a lot of that those themes show up with our swine industry and our poultry industry, as well as our dairy industry. Now, I will tell you here, with the poultry industry, These parts here, the products are going to look very similar to something you would see and already be training teams that are going into, or training a team that's going into poultry, evaluation, poultry judging. So you're going to see some of these being a precursor to a lot of your CDEs at the middle school level. And that was another thing when she looked at this, is let's not try to recreate the wheel. Let's try to have something that builds on everything we're doing in the classroom, as well as within our FFA, as well as at our land lab. And students may also be using in their SAE projects. So we could compass that whole 3-circle model program. I will tell you here, beneficials and pests, I've talked about that before, knowing the difference. Growing systems, again, your vegetable management practices, a little bit more in depth there. Then we get into nursery and landscape. A lot of times you're going to see 4 different questions just out of identification, right out of here, out of the bedding, landscape, and tree and grass identification. This right here, Florida-friendly landscaping principles, I have learned so much about what to do and not to do in my lawn after reading that, and we'll show you where you're going to be able to find that. Food science, even though it's 2 questions, I will promise you, knowing how to interpret a nursery nutritional label is going to be imperative. I'm going to back up back here. And with that label, we also need to know how to look at a fertilizer label and decide on what % of what nutrients, as well as how many pounds are in a 50-pound or 100-pound bag. So those are going to be 2. That's where that math comes in. And for those that know me, I'm a really big math person, and science, I love to sneak those in when we are teaching agriculture. Farm to fork process, where does each part fit into the production or producing, harvesting, processing, marketing, distribution, where does it fit in into those different, in that farm to fork pathway? All right, there are so many of you I know that were like me when I started out teaching agriculture and maybe not know anything about parliamentary procedure. I honestly will tell you that Brandy Paget's the one that taught me ParPro. Miss her. God must have wanted a really amazing ParPro team, because when he took her from us when she was, I think, 37. But either way, she taught me ParPro over the seat of a bus seat coming back from national convention one year, and all of a sudden that whole language made sense to me. I could do a real quick thing about ParPro. It may make Keitha's blood curdle the way I teach it, because she's the parliamentarian when it comes to this. But these are not really difficult motions to teach kids and make them make sense and stick. You've got some written oral communication skills as well. These again are going to be here with just 2 questions there. Okay, so I've referred to these secondary resources and how amazing they are. And so we're going to go backwards. Sorry on this wild ride. Not here. Let's go up in here. Now I'm going to click on here. And it's spinning. All right. As it spins, and we're hoping that'll come back, and I may have to close out and click on it again because it's super important. If I have to, I'll pull up my own. So I may have to do that. That's okay. Because I have, these are so important that they are in my OneDrive. They are, sorry about that. Let me go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, here we go. Y'all are seeing all my stuff. I'm looking for them and I'm not finding them. Maybe they're here. Okay, that's not either. I saw them earlier. I know I just went in this, but I'm not seeing my. Well, guys, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going back here just to see if they may show up. There we go. Okay. Whew. All right. So, and here they are hanging out here, and these are amazing. I really, 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 really recommend you get involved into these. So I'm gonna, one that is near dear to my heart, and I love me some pigs. Anybody that knows me, you know that's my love. So I'm looking through here, and I remember going through this and talking to Keitha and telling her, oh my gosh, there is some really good material. And she said, you know, when we started looking for material to use for resources, she said, I just started finding stuff and just throwing stuff in these folders that I wish I would have had as a first-year ag teacher. And when Keitha and I started in 1999 in Polk County, we really wish we would have had these resources. Both of us would. So these are great. I'm going to pull down here. And how are pigs raised? I don't think that's the one I want to see. Hold on. Maybe so. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So these were straight off the pork checkoff. Helped us out with this. And even though you're going to see the pork checkoff help out, and it would make sense that they would help out with pork stuff and pig stuff, they also are helping out with a lot of different secondary resources in here. And I'll show you another place of where to find them on the National FFA website, because there's more than just this there. So we go along. These have your swine productions, indoor, outdoor, life cycle of swine. They are actually really good lesson plans. Now, they do get a little cheesy some places, but I will honestly tell you there is one, and I'll get to, and I'll show you which one I used for a formal evaluation, which I never do. I never use anything just canned. I usually are just doing my own thing, what I usually do. And this time I did, and it was really amazing. So it goes through, it has a lot of really good information. Now, I will tell you there's times where I come back, and there's also activities. We have this part, indoor swine productions, a little bit of everything here. Timeline, little quizzes, everything. So there's a lot jam-packed in this that would be helpful for any teacher, whether you are new or old and just trying to look for something a little bit different. Let me back up here and go back here. And the one I used here, And this is another one that was something that I'm not really big on. Not that I'm big on. I'm not really as versed in, privy to it, to how to explain it. So, and was biotechnology, and we did this, and I did some things a little bit different that are in here, but either way, I was able to go through, define the biotechnology. Fortunately, it's at the end. It was at the end of the year. I say it's in the year. It was right before we went into quarantine. In I think it was like March 10th, and we the whole room. I had things in like kind of looked like an Easter egg hunt around the room with all these different types of biotechnology, and they had to match them up and where they thought they went and all that stuff. So there was a lot of getting up and moving and things like that. So your admin always really likes that. I've never I called it air taught or like practice teaching anything until I did this. And I had one of my former students walk in and go, "What is she doing?" And Sanchez told him, "Well, she's over there. She's got a formal tomorrow." And she goes, "Does she do this all the time?" She was like, "She says she never does this." And I don't. But this was a really good thing. Without the next day, we actually had kids take. I had 2 kids that were in this class that I did this. I'm just sorry, I'm scrolling back. Did this, that they went and took the Ag Systems test, and without them saying too much, all they said was, "We know we can't tell you anything about the test, but we are super glad you went over that lesson yesterday." So we just know that these secondary resources are just a wealth of information for anybody to use, whether you're using them to pass a certification test or have kids pass certification tests or not. They're definitely helpful in that respect. And I'm going to click out of this, or no, I'm going to go backwards. And I'm going to look at something else in here that I thought was, oh, I just saw it. Let me go back. Here's that farm resource regions that I was telling you. I have a little bit different one. If you Google it, you may find one that's a little bit easier for your kids to read. Here's one right here as well, instead of that small print there. But those are really good resources there. So this is a place for you, especially if you're a new teacher or pre-service teacher getting ready to do your intern. This is a place I would definitely be looking for lesson plans and things like that, because it's just chock full of a bunch. And shout out to Keitha and her AEST crew for digging through the internet and all the different resources to find everything we have here. So I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to do a new share. So, because I don't know if this is going to work. Share screen, and I'm going to go here. I think that's where I was. I'll just make a new. All right. And I'm going to Google middle school lesson plans, National FFA. All right. So I have not been able to find them going in the front door of FFA.org, but here they are. And I say that. I think I need to go back. Uh-oh. Let's go back. Sorry about that, guys. I think they're right here on that pork checkoff. And you see there are 150 lesson plans. So they didn't pull all of them. They out of here out into there. But whatever you don't have, they're here. And I know they say middle school, but I will honestly tell you there's a lot of these lesson plans that across the board with even your ag foundations are really extremely related to with what you have. I also believe at one time there was some ones that were specific to high school in here. But I'm just curious. Here we go, forestry and amazing race in forestry. You're barking up the right tree. You wouldn't believe it's a tree. Bird's eye view. So if you're teaching forestry and natural resources, this one's, I'm fixing to come back to this because when we get ready to teach forestry, so see what they've got there. But either way, these are just really good resources all around that are going to help your program and help your program in so many different ways. As far as an education aspect, you're going to get a really good quality lesson plans out of those. Not only the pork checkoff ones, but also the secondary resources. It's a really good starting point. And if you don't like it or you want to change something, you can edit them. It's not a big deal. You can do that. What I've done is those are all PDFs. And so I can export them into Word document and make some changes. And I have. With me been working in the swine industry, I do make a couple changes to update what we do here, which is not a big deal. It's okay. Go ahead and do those. But taking that PDF and making it export it into a Word doc is very important. I paid like a little fee. I think it was like maybe $25 max to be able to do that. I'm not really sure if you can just do it anyways, but that is an option for you. If you have any, that AEST certification exam for ag systems is definitely something that everybody should have that opportunity to look at and see what you can do for not only your students, for our workforce, for your school's grade, but also especially for you to fund some really cool stuff. We've been doing it for the last couple years, and we bought a gator, and we also last year bought a sonogram machine for our pigs. So, and they also do goats and sheep as well as dogs. So that's kind of really cool, high price item that we would not have bought. But since we do have a farrow to finish operation here, it is essential for us to be able to show that. And next year we already know that we've got a wish list for the students that we tested from March through the summer and even into up to September 30th this year. So we're really excited to be able to share those opportunities with you. And if you have any more questions, michelle.palmer@polkfl.net. Be more than welcome to help you out with anything. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Hope you learned something.